Friends, I'm Rahul Das. Today we would be discussing MCO 01, and let me just introduce you to myself also. I'm Rahul Das. I'm a chartered accountant, MCOM, and an LLB plus BCom. So let's just get started with this MCO 01 organization theory and behavior. As you would all know, that this is a part of IGNOU course for MCOM, and this is a second year course for MCOM, that is 2025. Let's take a quick course overview. What is MCO 01? Actually, it is organization theory and behavior. It has got 6 credits semester wise. 70% weightage for the written exam, 30% for the assignments, as you would all know. Foundation course of MCOM program, essential for understanding organizational dynamics, prepares students in advanced management courses. This is the importance of this course. And the learning objectives would be that you would be able to understand the fundamental concepts of organization theory and behavior, analyze individual and group behavior in organizational settings, evaluate different leadership styles and their effectiveness, apply motivation theories to improve organizational performance, design strategies for organizational change and development, critically assess contemporary issues in organizational behavior. Right? So this you need not write in your exams. This is just an overview. So the course has 5 blocks. Block 1 is basically organizational theory. That is the chapter 1 to chapter 4, or you can say units 1 to units 4. Introduction to organization, structure and design, management function and levels is basically in block 1. In block 2, you have got the individual perspectives from chapter 5 to chapter 8. Foundations of individual behavior, personality, values, attitudes, perception and learning. Block 3 is individual perspective part 2, and that is from unit 9 to unit 12. You need not read everything, you just need to understand them and write them in your own language. Motivational theories, job design and satisfaction, stress management. If you will all see through the course, what you will realize is these are all you already know these things, that how an individual can react, what are the motivations, what are the benefits of motivations. You will all be able to realize it by your own self. So you did not write the bookish language. You can write it in your own language. And in IGNOU, I'm just to remind you that they are just concentrated on how well you have written and how much knowledge you have about a particular concept or a particular theory. If you'll write anything, it doesn't give you marks. So just remember that. And then we have the block 4, that is the group behavior, units 13 to 16, group dynamics and team building, communication and decision making, leadership and power. Then we have the block 5, then the last block, organizational culture and development. What is the culture and change? What do you mean by organizational development? Contemporary issues. That's it. So just let's have a quick outlook of these. Block 1, introduction to organization. Definition of an organization. What is an organization? An organization is a systematic arrangement of people brought together to accomplish specific goals through division of labor and hierarchy of authority. So from this only you can understand that people, some people are arranged or brought together to accomplish some goals, and particular work is assigned to every individual. Basically, this is an organization, and those individuals working together are called an organization. What are the key characteristics if those people are working together? So, what would be the key characteristics? Simple. They have a common purpose and a shared objectives. Like they all are working for some common purpose and shared objectives. Of course, then whatever they will do, they would be doing it in a coordinated manner, or a systematic division of work will happen between them so that they can achieve those specific goals. And of course, there will be a formal structure. By formal structure, I mean there would be definite defined roles and responsibilities. Like if you have a finance manager, he would be entrusted with this responsibility that he needs to manage the finance of an organization. If there is a HR manager, he would be interested to look after the people, that is hiring, giving the salaries, determining the workforce. So coordinate formal structure. It would be formally defined that you have to do this, he has to do this, and he has to do that. Then people, human resource as core elements. See, in an organization, human resource is the biggest asset. Management, leadership, and control mechanism. For an organization to achieve its goals, it is very much necessary that the management is capable of doing it. The leadership is strong. The leadership is actually what you call effective, and the leadership allows you to follow them. Such should be the leadership where people get motivated to follow them. Then we have the functions of management. In an organization, there is the highest level that is called the management. They do planning, organizing, directing, controlling, and correcting performance. As you all would have studied in your class 12 business studies, functions of management: planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. Simple as that. Then there are three levels of management. The top management, that is the strategic, who takes the decisions, CEO, board of directors. Then we have the middle management, that is the tactical, like the department heads or the regional manager. Whatever decisions are taken, they are passed on to the middle management for their successful applicability and for their implementation. So that is the middle management who supervises the implementation, sorry, of the decisions. Then we have the operational management, that is the supervisory team and leaders. It is actually this operational management that actually implement those decisions taken by the top management. Okay, type of organizational structures. We have the traditional structure, that is the hierarchical tall structure, that is from top to bottom. We have the director, CEO, then vice president, under vice president, general manager, managers, like that. And we have the flat structure, that is the fewer levels of management. In this, there is only an owner, then we have the manager, and then we have the worker. Basically, this type of structure is followed in small organizations. Modern structure, okay. By modern structure, there is a matrix structure, dual reporting relationships. If you'll study this in your books, dual reporting relationship is where a person reports to two persons. Then we have the network structure, strategic partnership. Network structure is where you just don't have to report within the organization. You can have partnership with different people who are very much important to the organization's working and other things. Like you have the stakeholders, or you can say you have a strategic partnership with other companies as well who is manufacturing a particular product that is required by you to make a finished product. Then we have the virtual organization, technology enabled collaboration. Virtual organization, nothing but an organization where everyone is not meeting in person. They are just connecting by their laptop or through internet and doing their work by sitting at their homes or whatever place they are in. So that was block one. Now we are at block two, individual behavior and foundations. Any organization contains an individual or a person like you, me, and everyone else who is working. So this block basically describes the individual behavior and the theory that governs those behavior and what should be done to improve those behaviors. So first of all, let us just see definitions of organizational behavior. Organizational behavior is a systematic study of actions and attitudes that people exhibit within organization. Okay. Scope of organizational behavior is individual level. That is the personality, perception, motivation. If you'll read in your book, you will find that personality is developed after a person is being born. Perception is developed through his experience, and motivation is developed while working in an organization. Then we have the group level. In group level, we have team dynamics, communication, and leadership. Of course, from individual level, you are then coming to a group level. That is small groups within an organization divided into teams and with a leader. Then we have the third scope. of organizational behavior as organizational level, that is the culture, structure, change. It is actually the group of people or the groups that really creates an organizational culture or structure or change. I hope you are understanding. You can write it in your own words. This is nothing to really learn about. Just you have to understand and write. Contributing disciplines. So, what are contributing disciplines? It is psychological, that is the individual behavior, sociology, that is the group dynamics. By psychology, I means what a psychology a person has or what is his mindset that applies to an individual only. Then we have the sociology, that particular person, how he behaves in a social group, that is called a group dynamics. And then anthropology, that is the culture and the environment that he creates through his psychology and his social behavior. Then we have personality, values, and attitudes. Big five personality models. You just have to read once and you will be able to write. That is the openness, creativity, and curiosity. Openness basically is creativity and curiosity. The creative nature of a person's mind. If a job is being given to him, how creatively he can handle that job. And the curiosity. That is the trend of asking questions. If he is given a particular job and he's told, you have to do this only. So that is the curiosity. He might just ask, why do I need to do this job like this only? I can do if I can do this like this. So there is a creativity and a curiosity as well. Then is the conscious nightness. That is the organization dependability. Basically, conscious nightness is a term that is used where you would have heard our conscious tells us that this is right or wrong. When you're being told to do a particular work in a particular way and you feel that it is not the right way to do it, that is the consciousness. So that is also an important thing. Like in a government organization, if you'll see, if you're not paying taxes and you are a defaulter, or suppose you have just missed something or you have errored in something. Now you're going to a department. The department person can either make you pay tax, and that tax amount would go for public benefit. Whereas if you'll settle it in an amount, that that amount will go to that particular person. For that particular person, that is a consciousness, a wrong consciousness. Okay. Then is extraversion. That is sociability and assertiveness. Agreeableness, cooperation, and trust. Basically, in an organization, cooperation is necessary and trust also. Extraversion, sorry, I didn't tell you. Sociability and assertiveness. When a particular job is being done by you and someone tells you that you give this job to him so that you can take a leave, you will be assertive in that. That if I give my job to another person, he would be able to do that job and I would lose my job. So that is assertiveness. That also happens within an organization. Agreeableness, I told you that we should be all agreeing to cooperate and trust each other within an organization. Neurotism, sorry, anxiety, emotional instability. Basically, it is nothing. It is the just mental effect that we have. Like if you are having a fight at home and you're going to the office to work, you might not be able to work properly. You might be thinking about the fight at home. That is neuroticism. Work related attitudes are job satisfaction, organizational commitment, job involvement, employee engagement. I hope you all know this. Theory X and Theory Y. Max Gregor. Theory X assumption. That is the traditional view. People inherently dislike work. You all would be knowing this. Must be coincident and controlled. Prefer to be directed. Seek security above all. Okay. Then theory Y is assumption, contemporary view. Work is natural. Work is natural as play. Self-direction and self-control. Seek responsibility and creativity. Have intellectual potential. Management implication theory X. Authoritarian leadership. Authoritarian is where one person takes decisions. And theory Y, participative leadership. This is the kind of leadership where a management will involve everyone to vote for a particular decision. Now we move to block 3, motivation concepts. Definition of motivation. You would all know motivation is an integral drive, internal drive that activates behavior and gives it direction, intensity. and persistent towards achieving goals. Components of motivation. What are the components of motivation? Simple. Direction. What behavior is chosen? Intensity. How hard a person tries. Very good. Persistence. How long effort continues. So these are the components of motivation. Types of motivation: intrinsic, internal satisfaction, personal growth. Here, if you get internally satisfied, like you are being paid higher, and of course it will contribute to your personal growth. Then is extrinsic, external rewards, money, recognition. So here also, what you'll see is you are giving rewards by way of something else, or by money also. You will get recognition, you will get promoted. So that contributes to motivation. And intrinsic, if you'll get more money, just like I told you, internal satisfaction. It is not actually linked to money. I was wrong there. It was actually internal satisfaction is by doing a particular job. If you get satisfied mentally, okay, I'm able to do this in this much of time and properly, you will get satisfied. You will also get a personal growth, like you're improving your skills only, or you have learned a new skill through AI. So that contributes to intrinsic. Now, this is the most important thing. This will definitely come in your exams. Whatever exams I have given in MCOM, I have always seen this Maslow's hierarchy needs. So just learn these needs and write it down in your exams. So Maslow has given 5 levels of human needs, base to peak. One, okay, so I'm telling you it from base to peak. Self-actualization needs. This is the highest need, or the last need you can say. This is being done from 5 to 1. Okay, self-actualization, that is personal growth, fulfillment of creativity. Before that comes esteem needs, self-respect, recognition, achievement. Before that comes love and belonging needs, friendship, acceptance, social interaction. And before that also comes safety and security needs, job security, safe conditions, stability. And the first need is psychological needs, food, water, shelter, sleep. That is the basic level. So the principle here is the lower needs must be satisfied before the higher needs activate. So the slower need, if you can see here, is the psychological need, safety and security need, love and belonging need, esteem need, self-actualization needs. Then we have the McClelland's need theory. Basically, Maslow and McClelland's need theory. In both these theories, Maslow was the top one. So that would definitely come in your exams. This is also very important. This can also come in your exam, but Maslow is definitely coming. So according to McClelland's, three acquired needs: need for achievement, need for affiliation, and need for power. This was basically McClelland's need theory. Then we have the Herzberg's two-factor theory. Herzberg were also like a Maslow and a McClelland. The first was hygiene factor, company policies and administration, supervision and management, salary and benefits, working conditions, job security. These were the hygiene factors that was identified by Herzberg. Company policies should be simple and employee friendly. Administration must not be hard. Supervision and management must believe in their employees. So that's that is how a person or a employee in an organization will be happy. Salary and benefits. Salaries should be given in time. Benefits should be proper. Also, salary should be increased from time to time. That has in the current era, that I think is the basic necessity, and organizations should really realize that it's just not the salary that is given on time, it's the increment that you give from time to time. A person will not only stay within an organization, but he will also work properly. Then we have the working conditions. The working conditions should not be hazardous. It should be such that a employee feels safe and sound. And of course, the job security. In private sector, you don't have a job security, but an organization should try to provide job security to its employees. That is okay. That is the basic factor for an employee to work. Then we have the motivational factors, or you can say satisfiers. Above were dissatisfiers. Achievement and recognition. As you all know, work itself and responsibility. How will you work and what are the responsibilities that you have been given with that is associated with that work? You have to work properly or you have to work on time so that your responsibility is shorted off. Means you have a, or you can say you have a GST return date. You have to file GST return by 11th of the month and you are sitting on 10th. So there is nobody to ask you to do that job, or you can say your manager is on leave. But it is a responsibility to do that job so that this return is getting filed. So that is your work to do. You have to take the responsibility on your shoulders and do it yourself. That is where the second point comes. And is the advancement of opportunities. Whatever work you are doing, if you're doing it correctly or properly, you should be given opportunity to grow or promote. You should be given other work or you should be provided with some opportunities within the organization. Like if your boss is moving or he has just resigned from this position. So according to this theory, someone from his hierarchy should be given that position. Okay. Then personal development. Okay. Of course, everything defines motivation to last level, that is personal development. Then we have the block 4, group dynamics. In block 3, we were in individual dynamics. In block 4, we are in group dynamics. So what is a group dynamics? A group is a two or more individual interacting and independent who have come together to achieve a particular objective. Okay, groups are within the organization. Few individuals, two or more forms a group. Types of group: formal group, that is the command groups, reporting relationships. Okay, then the task group, work teams and specific goals. Then we have the informal groups, that is the friendship we make, that is interest groups, common concerns, and the friendship groups. Just I told you, social relationships. Then we have the Tuckman stage, forming, storming, norming, performing, adjoining. These are the stages of group formation, that how a group functions within an organization. Just remember, forming. A group is formed by two or more people. Storming. They are analyzing, defining, moving with the work. Norming. They are implementing how a work should be done, a particular group. Implementing. Forming is forming a group. Storming is assigning duties within the group. Norming is implementing those duties. Performing is the result, the output that is coming out of this implementation. And adjoining is finally leaving the group. Team building process. Four team building approaches: goal setting approach, interpersonal approach, role definition approach, problem solving approach. You can just read it and you will understand. Benefits are for team building benefits: improved communication, enhanced productivity, reduced conflicts. Communication in organization, communication process. So what is the communication process? You all have learned in your class 12th. You all might have just remember, or you can just remember by reading this communication process. Sender, then it is encoded, it forms into a message. That message transfers through a channel. When it transfers to a channel, there is a receiver who receives the message. He decodes the message and gives his feedback. As simple as that. Sender, encoding, message, channel, receiver, decoding, feedback. Types of direction. Okay, in communication also there are types of that. Downward, superior to subordinate, that normally happens. Upward, subordinate to superior, that also normally happens. And lateral, same level colleagues. What my point? Same level colleagues are that there is no superior or subordinate. Both are superiors of different departments, so they can coordinate within themselves, or both are subordinate of different departments, they can coordinate within themselves. Okay. Then we have the communication barrier, language and semantic problems, perceptual differences, of course, emotional barriers, cultural difference. Okay, you can just read it. Then we have block 5, organizational culture. This is the last block. So what is organizational culture? Organizational culture is the shared values, beliefs, assumptions, and norms that influence how employees think, feel, and behave. As I told you at the starting, organizational culture is nothing but the people of an organization or the groups within the organization that share values, beliefs, assumptions, and the norms that influence how employees think. That is how employees work. That is the culture that prevails within an organization. Okay. Types of culture: Cameron and Quinnen. Clan culture: family like, collaborative. As you can know, types of culture within an organization like clan culture, family like, collaborative, very collaborative and family like. People tend to stay in an organization where clan culture prevails more. Okay. Then we have the adhocracy culture, dynamic, entrepreneurial. Okay, basically a dynamic culture. There is an entrepreneur who is very dynamic. There is no family like culture. There is no collaboration, but an entrepreneur, and he is very dynamic. People tend to move away from such organization. They tend, matlab, you can say they are naturally not very congenial to working environment. Then the market culture, result oriented and competitive. Market culture is like you always have to be on your toes to get results, be competitive. Here also it asks a lot from a particular person, but personality development and growth is the largest in this type of cultured organizations. Hierarchy culture, formalized, structured. Here also there is a proper culture happening. No one is interested in your personal life. There is a hierarchy, there is a structure, and you have to just go and work and come back. Functions: defines identity, creates belonging, guides behavior. Functions of organizational culture are: your identity is defined, your bonding is defined, and then how you behave in an organization is defined. Leadership theories evolution. Evolution of leadership theories. One is the trade theory. It evolved in 1930s to 1940, and it basically focus was on leadership characteristics. Then we have the behavioral theories, evolved from 1940s to 1960s, focus on leader action. So first is trade theory, focus on leader characteristics. What are the characteristics of a leader? That was a trade theory. Then we have the behavioral theory. That is the focus on leader actions. Earlier it was the characteristic, then it is the leader actions, what he is doing. Then we have the contingency theories. It evolved from 1960s to 1980s. Leadership depends on situation. Every situation can be different for all different leaders. A leader who is successful in a particular situation might not just be successful in another situation. So this was a contingency theory. We have different leaders for different situations, like you have different captains for different formats, T20, ODI, Test. Similarly, this is the contingency theory. Then we have the contemporary theory, 1990s until present, that is going on. Transformational and charismatic leadership. That is a kind of leadership where the traits, the behavior, and contingencies are adopted, where all the above three is adopted. That is how a leader is prepared. And you can see the management schools. Basically, they are preparing leaders like that only. That for every situation, for every kind of work, a leader is transformed. He can guide it through. He can know. He attains knowledge. Okay. Now, let's just discuss about transformational leadership. There are four components of transfer: inspirational motivation. It creates visions. Vision is created by the leader within the minds of the people. Intellectual stimulation, challenge assumptions, encourage innovation. Then, when vision is created, challenges are notified. Innovation, whatever is needed to go to those visions are identified. Individualized consideration, personal attention, mentoring. Then the individual strength is considered, where how an individual will perform to achieve those visions. Idealized influence, of course, role model, higher ethical standards. Then a role model is set up, that if you need to achieve those visions, you need to make a set a role model, or you can say you need to have a role model who has already achieved those visions or is sitting on this peripheral vision, who's sitting on above. You need to idolize. Idolize then influence. It might be the leader, it might be the person who has already achieved it. But these are the four components of transformational leadership. Benefits of this are, of course, performance would be higher, satisfaction would be there, and creativity gets evolved here. Then we have the organizational change, forces of change. Of course, in Bhagavad Gita, you have also read, or I just let you, I'll say it to you, that change is permanent. Change is permanent. And a person who adapts to the change will always be a successful. So, of course, when change is permanent, organization is ought to change. So, the forces of change within an organization are external forces. External forces can be like economic conditions, competition, technology advancements, government regulations. You cannot control those. Then we have the internal forces, strategic changes, workforce demographics, employee attitudes. You can control these. And of course, when there is a change, not everyone will adapt. So there is a resistance. So the demerit is resistance to change. That is the fear of unknown, security concerns, and habit. Whenever an organization has resisted to a change, has it has either fell down or has completely been shut down. You can see the most probable example as Yahoo. I know that previously we used to just go to Yahoo, Yahoo Chat, Yahoo.com, Yahoo this, Yahoo that. But they resisted to change and Google accepted the change. And you can see now where is Google and where is Yahoo. Another example is Nokia. Nokia resisted to change when the world required Android. Nokia resisted it. They did not seem to really be happy with the Android product. There was fear of unknown. And see today, where is Nokia and where is Samsung, OnePlus, iPhone? Okay. Then we have the change management models. So change management models, there was one Lewin's three-step model: unfreezing, changing, refreezing. Basically, it is nothing but break down existing mindset, implement new behaviors, establish new norms. Okay. Then we have the Kotter's eight-step process, change management models. That is how an organizational accepts change, or what are the stages of creating or acceptance of those change. So Kotter's eight-step process was create urgency, form coalition, create vision, communicate vision, empower action, create wins, consolidate gains, anchor changes. Okay. And we have the contemporary issues in organizational behavior. Key contemporary issues are workforce diversity, age, gender, culture difference. So there are benefits also, better decisions and innovation. Workforce diversity. The more the diverse workforce is, the better the decisions and innovations are. Then we have the employee engagement, physical, cognitive, emotional connection. These are the employee engagement, like how an employee is engaged in organizational behavior, that is physically engaged, cognitively engaged, or emotional connection. Drivers are meaningful work and recognition. Then we have virtual teams that I told you starting of the chapter. Technology mediated collaboration means here collaboration, basically teams are formed within their houses or through their laptops only through internet connectivity. Challenges are just trust and communication. Communication might just not be proper in these kind of virtual teams. Work-life balance. Of course, organizational behavior is drastically, or you can say more impacted by this work-life balance. Flexible arrangement and wellness programs should be there to really look at these issues. So contemporary issues are in organizational behavior are the issues that affect the behavior within the people of the organizations are the contemporary issues, and these are workforce diversity, employee engagement, virtual teams, work-life balance. If you do not have a good work-life balance, you won't be able to work properly in the organization. If you are in a virtual teams, there is a lack of communication with your team. You might not be able to trust. You have not met the person. Employee engagement. How you're doing a particular work or the work assigned to you, how it can be done. If it is a work that depends on a third party and you are being forced, you are being told to do that work quickly, you are ought to get dissatisfied because that is not in your hand. So that is employee engagement. Workforce diversity. If the head above you is a person who is 10 years younger than you might have a proper ego issue. Or see, if a person above you basically it is a girl or something like that, a person with a small mindset will of course have problems. So that is workforce diversity. Now the examination pattern we would discuss. So this is the term and examination. As you will all know that December 25 examinations are approaching. Also the forms are being filled right now only. 3 hours exam, 70% weightage, 9 questions, attempt 25. Each question carry 20 marks. Remember to start every question with a new page. Always remember to end a question. You have to put a line after every question that ends. Just put a line after that answer in your answer sheet. That is, you take a scale and underline and just put a proper line. Also, when you are writing your exams, make sure you put bullet points. That is, you make a heading and underline it. No matter what, if you write rubbish or you write a story, examiner is not going to give you marks in this subject particularly. You have to write to the point. You have to write it effectively and with choice of good words. If you are writing it with a choice of good words and the examiner knows that you know the basic concept, he will give you good marks. There are a lot of chances of getting above 60 marks in this exam. So attempt every question, write it in 2 page. 20 marks question means 2 page. 2 pages you have to write front and back. And when you are writing front and back, it amounts to 3.5 pages. You can write it in 3.5 pages. Start the question from page, starting the page, end the question on third page, half point. That would derive you 20 marks. Assignment components, as you would all know, everyone makes assignment from outside only. That contains the 30% weightage. But if you'll get good marks in this 70%, you would be you would that forms the basic part. In assignment, if you really make it in a good outlay way, they will give you marks. But in written exam, you have to write it to the point and properly. If you write rubbish, if you write a story, I'm telling you again, they are not going to give you marks. Study tips you can all read here. I'm not the one to provide you any study tip because everyone has their own method, own schedule, work-life balance to prepare and study. Okay, so thank you, and I, I've, I hope it helps someone or somewhere who needs study, who is unable to study properly, or who just need to brush it through. Thank you.